I am now seeing the woodwork YouTubers giving almost fake reactions. It's like they have these rehearsed reactions to things. Are they really outraged or are they trying to they got to fill in the content for the YouTube channel? Get those commercials in, boys. Get them in. Now, I even got this in my Gmail because my Gmail is linked to my Netflix, right? So they've Netflix has announced that they have won their bid, so now they're in transaction talks with Warner Brothers. So Netflix and Warner Brothers, right? Does that mean the Snyder Cut's going to come out? I don't know. I've heard reports about James Gunn staying. James Gunn's given some negative feelings about things. I think that he's probably going to be allowed to put his content out there for another year, but we'll see what happens. As far as this goes, they're saying that the theater is dead. Now, I'm going to explain to you why the physical world is not dead to Netflix. I'll show you something at the end of this. Welcome to Maestro Drama. Of course, there's not much graphics, but you heard the two jingles that are probably going to be meshed together. Ding, 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 zoom. That's the new sound, right? So, am I happy about this? I don't know. I guess we're not going to get Superman going on the Enterprise, right? We're not going to get Batman teaming up with Sonic the Hedgehog, though they could do that another. Actually, no, that did happen. No, that did happen, right? Yeah, never mind. Um, but Star Trek's a mess, by the way. What the fuck is that? What is that? Is that One Tree Hill? Is that Dawson's Creek? On the Enterprise or whatever it is. What is that Star Trek show? What is that about? They're ruining Star Trek. Dear God, Ellison, do something about your own investments, please. So I know people are mad at Netflix because of Cuties, which I did not watch. I remember listening to Anna, that Star Wars. Now she had it unlisted, but that Star Wars girl, when Anna watched Cuties, and she was crying. She was mad as fuck at the Cuties movie, at the sexual innuendos, and these were children. Now the age of consent in France is 15, so nothing you could do about it. But I mean, there are some movies with children that are not for children, like what is it, Natalie Portman in The Professional. That was a good movie. It wasn't graphic like that. She wasn't exploited like that, but it was a good movie. Not every not every kid's gonna be in every kid's movie, but it was a good movie, right? She got starting out on that, her big break. But Netflix and Warner Brothers, I honestly feel like maybe this will work out. Maybe it will. Now, I said on a couple of posts on Instagram, I think they're going to reduce the 45 to 30 days. So you have about a month. Let's say Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or Ben Affleck's Batman comes out in theaters, okay? So you have about 30 days. So let's say it comes out, let's say what's today? Let's say December 5th. Let's say you have until January 5th to watch that movie. And then it goes straight to Netflix. So now you're like, okay. And everybody they keep crying that Hollywood's dead, Hollywood's over. Let me tell you something. Hollywood fucked up, didn't they? When they wanted to go woke and then go broke. You go woke, you go broke. Hollywood fucked up. Disney did this shit. So did Sony with Ghostbusters. And then with Star Trek and lots of other things. And people are cleaning house. I see reports that Bob Iger may be out and some other guy may be in to take over for Disney. I don't know what's going on. But the Trump administration, indirectly or directly, is really changing things, shaking things up. Things are shaking up. And maybe Ellison will do something about that Starfleet Academy show. Right now, all I care about is that I want to see the Zack Snyderverse come back. I wasn't appreciative of it back then, but I am now. I wonder if Ping Pong Flicks, I haven't seen Ping Pong Flicks, who was supposed to be, his problem was that Chris Wong was this big Snyder fan. And then all of a sudden he became a big gun fan. Like the guy was a reactionary and an opportunist, and he just seemed less genuine. And then Mark Bustler, Classic Game Room's got his own problems, but never mind that either. So this is a new age. I mean, the days of going to the theater are not going to be a necessity. Things have changed all the time. We went from, and I have the book, I have the book next to me, okay? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, not Once Upon a Time, before there was a Hollywood, okay? And you had actors like Lola Crabtree and Lillian Gish, okay? Lillian Gish, Lola Crabtree. You would have to be 120 years old to know who those people are. Nobody would know who those are, but I know because I read the history of Los Angeles. Los Angeles was La Puebla de la Reina Portenza, I think. It used to be the Angels of the Queen. So it was a long sentence, and they changed it to Los Angeles. But Los Angeles was just this like, it was like, um, what do you call it? Tumbleweeds and wild grass. Like if you go to Palmdale, right? If you go to Palmdale, California, and like look at that wild area, that's what Los Angeles used to look like, just wild trees and shit. And then missionaries came, and soon white businessmen, and soon you had just like the saloons in the old west, just like for a fistful of dollars and a few dollars more, and good, bad, and the ugly, just those old westerns like Clint Eastwood. That's what Los Angeles used to look like, just bare bone shit. Then businesses boomed. So Lillian Gish and Lola Crabtree and all these other actors, okay, who used to be on stage and perform, right? They did, some did blackface, wasn't welcomed, but there you go, whatever sold, right? Some did magic lantern shows back in the 1800s. Some did shadow puppets, puppetry. But then you go from that, from dancing girls and circuses and performances on stage, and then you move on to the silent film. Edison changed everything. Thomas Edison changed everything. His original, I think, a reproduction of his original studio, the first studio he made was was redone, and it shows you how he first started out. But you know, we were going to have glass film, and we had film, right? Glass plate film. But Thomas Edison changed everything with the film strips, and we had silent films. Then we had talking films, but at the same time we had radio, and then television. People talked about television killing off movies, television killing radio, television's going to kill the movie theaters and kill radio. Then we went from television to color TV, and then black and white would be gone forever. Then we had VHS tapes. Now people won't watch TV anymore. They're going to watch things on tape, Betamax and VHS tapes. Then we got to the damn internet. Back in 95, 96, we got to the internet. Hollywood's just changing face. And also, too, I think, remember Roger Ebert was talking about 8 millimeter film strips, and, you know, we don't need 3D. Like we're talking about Avatar in 2009, the 3D, the stereoscopic. We could just use, getting film strips, making better quality film like the old ways, like what Quentin Tarantino would do or Christopher Nolan. But a lot of people like in the industry back in the, 2010s or late 2000s, somewhere in the 2000s, okay? The big executives for all the movies, all the CEOs and the big executives for all the movie studios, okay? The Sonys, the Paramounts, the Warner Brothers, the Disneys, they threw out the big octagons, and those octagons would house the film strips for the latest movies, like Fight Club, Star Wars, Batman, X-Men, right? Spider-Man, all like classic movies like Rambo. They were on film strips, and they got replaced with digital film. Now Netflix is the subscription service model is killing the digital film and all that, and the DVDs and the 4K and all the discs and the television. It's just things are evolving. We're going from woke to unwoke. We're going from watching films in theaters. We're watching digital films to subscription services, right? We're reshaping what things are. And I do see that because they have the DC Comics, right? They're going to put in DC Comics alongside the video game. So if you get Netflix, You get free access to like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman comic books. But I'd rather get Absolute Superman as a physical copy because I like that series so much. Everything else, I could just like I could go on Netflix and read the comic books. I could read Absolute Batman in 2028, 2027. I could go ahead and like just read Absolute Batman on Netflix. Okay, so things are changing. They have Hanna-Barbera characters. They have Yogi Bear. They have Scooby Doo, and they got the Looney Tunes. Will Acme versus Coyote come back? Will it come back? Who knows? They got Raw. Netflix has got Wednesday. They have the live action One Piece and live action Avatar. Not James Cameron, but the anime, the Last Airbender, and not the M Night Shyamalan racist mess. So I think they're in a good spot now. Could they wokeify and bring back and say James Gunn's going to be in total control no matter what? They could. But I wouldn't advise it. I really wouldn't. And I did see another picture of Wonder Woman from her first movie by Zack Snyder on Instagram after the announcement. Zack didn't say anything about it, but he did not say anything about it. So he's just being subtle. Uh, So his Twilight of the Gods, which I do recommend. If you don't like Rebel Moon, and I didn't like Rebel Moon, Twilight of the Gods is a great cartoon. And I advise you to watch it, get into it. It's a great cartoon. And I think a couple of Sucker Punch, I think, is on there. Or I think I have Sucker Punch. I know he's got, what is it, Army of the Dead with Bautista. Yeah. I mean, who knows what's going to happen. But definitely those movies, Man of Steel and Flash, they're going to come back. I think that's the first thing that will happen is those movies that were on Netflix, like the DCEU movies, will come back if they haven't already. They'll come back and they'll stay there because now they have access to them. And they'll probably lease out. I think I saw something about, what is it? That they're going to try to license out the IPs to other theme parks, but I don't think so. I don't think Netflix is going to do that. I don't think Netflix is going to license out the characters to other theme parks. I'm going to show you why in a minute. Okay, this is Netflix House. What is Netflix House? A big bet on experimental entertainment. Giant immersive experiences based on Wednesday and One Piece, joined by tech-driven mini golf and VR, and a last-minute dose of K-pop Demon Hunters. So I think one of these is escape room. So you have escape rooms, you have VR, you have little obstacle courses, right? Like if you go into like a little gym, right, and you're working out, and you got mini golf. So what they're trying to do is create a bastardized version of Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood or Orlando and Knott's Berry Farm. Let's see. In order to step foot inside the project that Netflix views as a critical piece of its future, you have to walk through a vestige of its past. So the streaming, so this was, let me see when this was, a few weeks ago? This was November 11th. So this was Veterans Day, okay? The streaming giant on Monday night christened its first Netflix house, a real-world physical representation of what it has built for TV. And the grand entrance is a red envelope which visitors will walk through to get to a grand atrium overflowing with characters and visuals from Netflix's vast library. The big red envelope is symbolic of what we used to do years ago, which was mail DVDs around the United States, said Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos. Standing next to co-CEO Greg Peters and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. So this is all in Pennsylvania. This is the first place. So this is the opening ceremony. What we did, even when the technology was different, is that we built fans, and this Netflix house here is to celebrate the fans. So this is kind of in response to Neon from Clownfish saying, "Oh, it's all over." This is reactionary. I don't listen to the other YouTubers. Okay, no, though Neon is an expert in understanding comic books and animation, though. Look at this, though. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That's pretty. That's pretty weird, but that's pretty. This is what the Netflix house looks like. So this is a physical place. The fandom, it turns out, is usually the key. It's something that Walt Disney and Universal know well, but with their theme parks and experiences businesses becoming primary focus points for their respective strategies. If you talk to any executive in Disney or Universal Experiences division, like say Disney Parks, the Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro, that's the guy that's supposedly going to take over for Bob Iger, the new CEO, who was a conspicuous presence at Netflix's upfront event earlier this year. They will tell you that the real-world experiences build a connection with fans of entertainment that goes beyond a love of the storytelling on screen. That's what drives love for a brand. It's the emotional connection, says Marion Lee, Netflix's CMO. I don't know what that means, CMO. Some sort of chief officer. Speaking with the Hollywood Reporter inside the Netflix's House Fast Tudium Theater, I always tell the team that it's about giving fans a place to have a shared community, and my team reminds me that we're stewards of the story, so we want to continue the storytelling. You're coming in, there are elements that are familiar, but it's not just a show in a real life setting, it's elements from that. So the familiarity is there, but as a fan, you can really appreciate when we're taking it. So let's take a look at what we really have here. So there's a theater, so you can watch the shows. So admission is free, but you're paying for certain things. It's almost like Downtown Disney or the City Walk of Universal. That's what this is. It's taking the City Walk or Downtown Disney, and then you're making that indoors, or mostly, I guess. I don't know if the mini golf is indoors or outdoors. I'm assuming it's outdoors. So, Lord and Taylor. So this is in Philadelphia. So this is the first Netflix house. So you got K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh, here we go. So you got, okay. So inside this 2-story venue has the theater, of course, which will host screenings of its films as well as special events, as well as 2 massive experience spaces, a 9-hole mini golf course, a virtual reality area, a shop, and a Netflix Bites restaurant with dishes based on films like K-pop Demon Hunters and WWE. The first 2 immersive experiences are based on the anime One Piece and the scripted Juggernaut. Wednesday, One Piece is fundamentally an escape room experience, letting visitors become part of a pirate crew to solve puzzles. Wednesday, meanwhile, transports visitors into the eve of the Outcast Carnival, complete with a due of carnival games, a misery go round, and a murder mystery to solve if they can find a secret passage. So I don't know if it's part VR or part escape room. Immersive. Yeah, so that's really neat. So there's so much going on with this. Any more pictures? What's this one? Look at that carnival. Holy shit. That looks like Wednesday. I don't know what that is. Netflix house. So after Philly and Dallas, Texas, the third Netflix house will open in Las Vegas. Okay. That you got to go to Vegas. How about Los Angeles? Let's see. Let me think. Either Hollywood, Burbank, something like that. I mean, there's got to be some property over there that nobody's using. K-pop Demon Hunters again. So this is what they're doing as far as physical things. They're not completely digital. It's not all digital. Yes, they have their woke shit, but what they're gonna do? They got in trouble with the strawberry shortcake stuff. Quest for the Devil Fruit, One Piece. Oh, that looks good. So let's see. I think that's it. So the last words are, what is it? So we've given ourselves enough flexibility to have things that we think are the anchor IP and that will continue to drive people to come back and forth, but also to have the flexibility and the agility to swap in things that we see are starting to work. So what they're doing is sort of the pop-up theme park. Sort of a pop-up theme park where it's almost like when you have those pop-up amusement parks with the roller coasters and the Ferris wheels and the dragon swing. And it's sort of like that, but much more expensive, a little more expensive with IPs and all that. That's why I think, as far as physical toys and physical comic books and DVDs and 4Ks, and also too, Frankenstein with Guillermo del Toro, that's going to come out on DVD because he got that privilege to do that. So there's a lot of things going on for Netflix Netflix is almost like, it's almost like Steam, like Valve, okay? They're not there to compete with the studios. They're going to destroy the Hollywood market. They're not there to compete with Hollywood. They're going to destroy Hollywood. And I'm happy. I'm here for it. I am. I am here for it. I don't miss many of those comic books. They're going to cut down the comic books. They're going to cut down the writers. But that's what's going to happen. There's problems with those comic books. There's problems with a lot of those comics. So let me know your thoughts. Here's to the future, Netflix. Hail Netflix. That's it. Hail Netflix. Is it Warner Netflix? Netflix Warner? Netflix Brothers.